Welcome in, everybody. DNVR Rapids Podcast here. Continuing our 2024 Colorado Rapids season preview, position by position. This is the fun one, guys. This is the goal scorers. This is the forwards.
I can't believe we wore the same thing 3 days in a row.
Incredible.
I couldn't.
Again.
It's for good luck.
Again,
good luck.
Totally not recording these back to back to back.
I wish I made this joke in the first one.
All right. Looking at the returnees this year up top, Rafael Navarro, whose loan is up this summer, Jonathan Lewis, Darren Yappy, Calvin Harris, Kevin Cabral. New faces. And these are fun. These ones are pretty fun.
Yep.
Not going to lie. Little guy named Djordje Mihailovic. Have you heard of him?
You mean the 2024 MVP?
Make sure you check out our Hot Takes episode where Yaya nearly burned down the studio. Also, joining from Red Bulls, Omir Fernandez.
My guy.
Your guy. For sure your guy. And then via the draft, this one's exciting. Kamani Stewart-Baines from the University of Maryland.
He has a little bit of that KSB, Kevin De Bruyne nickname going for him, and I love it so much.
Love it. Love it. And then when you're looking at who we expect to start, you know, we're assuming sort of a 4-3-3 here. We're expecting Mihailovic on the left, Omir Fernandez on the right, Rafa Navarro up top. No surprises there, guys, right?
None at all.
I think what's nice about this group is it tiers itself pretty well, right? You have guys like Cabral, Lewis, Yappy, Harris, who have played a lot of MLS minutes and have shown in flashes that they can be a guy. But no doubt those three are the starters. And now Rafa, which is probably where we should start this, Rafael Navarro, or Rafa to keep it easy, is on a loan that could end in the biggest purchase in Rapids history, right? Just the one goal scored, had an assist as well in that second half of the season. He joined after Leagues Cup due to just taking time to get visas and everything sorted out. Is this the question really comes down to, is he going to be worth that purchase option?
And that's the hardest part about this. We haven't seen the production. We haven't seen what we want from him, but you can see the talent. And that's, I think, where we can sell ourselves a little bit on him and see what's going on. Thankfully, you do have some very good people behind him in Yappy and Cabral, and even Harris, who does play the striker, and Lewis, too, if we want to throw another name out there. But I think at the end of it, we got to see the production, and it's all about production.
Sure. Dwayne, you're not sold on Rafa.
Not yet. I can be. But, and again, I've said this throughout the entire offseason, is it depends on who we get, and this was before, we brought in all these new players. Who are we going to get the ball to him? We've made some of those moves. So now there's no more excuses. Goals have to happen. He's brought in to be the striker, and so far he's played more as a not striker. He's a guy who has really been servicing the ball into a striker that doesn't exist. So he's great on the ball. He has some really nice moves. When we watch him play, like he is a highlight reel, just in watching him on the ball. But without goals, I mean, that's what you're here to do. Like, that is your job. You have to score goals, period. You are the striker.
I think why I'm so excited for him this season, and I think when you look at his tape from Botafogo and just watching him play with the Rapids, he's physical.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He puts a body on a body all the time. He is not scared to allow contact to him with the ball at his feet, play off of that, find other guys. And when we look across this roster, I mean, we've already talked about two position groups. We're talking about forwards now. There is so much more talent around him at this time now than in October when he was playing, right? And so it's tough to say, hey, man, you didn't score a lot of goals. Well, guess what? The Rapids scored less goals than games played last year, right? So you can't – it's really hard to say it was just him. But when you have a contract like that – or sorry, not a contract, but a purchase option like that, it kind of is, hey, man, you didn't score goals yet, right? So I think in this Chris Armas system where physicality and running and chasing the ball and getting into those spaces quickly and finding each other, goals by committee. That's what makes me so excited about seeing Rafa this year. And guess what? If it doesn't work, you don't have to spend $4.5 million, and you can use that money to go find a different goal scorer.
And I'm sure they have other options already lined up and ready to go. And the whole thing we saw with Rafa, when we see the highlights about the Fogo and all that, he was a poacher. He likes being in the right place at the right time. That's what he's good at. He never was there last year because there was never a right place.
To poach.
Yeah, there was never a right place at the right time last year. And that one time that he was at the right place at the right time, he scored his goal against FC Dallas. And that's when the team was playing a little bit better, when he had a little bit more help around him. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to how Dwayne said, production. And Dwayne's been on this boat for a long time. He's been riding the choo-choo train all the way to like, we need goals, baby. And that's at the end of it, that's what it is.
Yeah, and he did that in preseason as well. If you watch the clips, you saw that the ball bounce around. I think it was on a set piece, and then out of nowhere, Rafa just comes flying in, Doyle type flying header, from way back, and just Superman headed that right into the net, and like that's the kind of poaching that could be deadly.
This is Dwayne right now in his back, getting that Doyle reference and taking it out.
Love him. Love that guy.
You're a Doyle guy.
He had the best headers ever. But I think Rafa showed that he could be bringing a lot of those in too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
When you look at the wings, you have two guys in Djordje Mihailovic and Omir Fernandez who kind of profile more as a 10, right? More as a corner of the box, can play inside. Not really living on the edge like you would see a lot from Cabral, Lewis, Harris. Mm-hmm. They were basically riding the sideline and getting crosses in last year. But when you put two guys on the wing, that's where you really say, okay, can Omir and Keegan play together, right? Can Sammy and Djordje play together? Because they're going to be going in towards the goal. Those guys will be coming up the side. And can those combinations where can guys like Omir and Djordje kind of change the way they naturally play and take over more of a outside attacking role?
And that's the goal creation that you didn't have last year. That's why you have inverted wingers that are 10s that can create more goals. And that's where I think Rafa's going to like really be excited about these opportunities. You have two guys that are going to create chances, not just for themselves, but for everybody around them. That's why I have an Omir having 15 goal contributions, I think is what I said as a hot take.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of goal contributions, and I understand it is. But
I'm for it. Bring it.
Let's go.
But I just think it's going to be a lot of assists. I don't think it's going to be like he's goal score. He's having a hat trick every other game. The thing with Omir, that he's a guy that knows how to play in the system. He's been with Armas. He knows exactly what's going to be asked of him, and he's going to assimilate quickly because now he has a guy like Keegan that he's not afraid that if he's not hugging that wing, that you're gonna lose a whole side of the pitch. Now you have a guy like Keegan that's gonna help him, and it's gonna be a reliable partnership in my opinion. And same thing with Mihailovic. Mihailovic had what I think was 15 assists or something like that.
He had 38 goal contributions in 2 years.
Exactly. There you go.
That's a ton.
And a lot of them were assists for the same reason. He dominates that left hand. Whenever you see highlights, it's always on the left, and it's right at the edge of the box. It's right at the edge on both the left side and right in front of the goal. He's dominating that area. That's his little creation spot, the half field. And that's what you need. That's where you were lacking a lot. You saw the ball go to wingers last year, and it kind of became dead. What did we talk about? Sam Nicholson did great, and then he became a black hole once we hit the final third.
Right.
And you're not going to get that with a guy like Mihailovic at all.
Well, you know what I love about getting to that kind of corner of the box there? You can either get it to Rafa in the middle as a big target guy that can box out and allow you to get a pass to him that doesn't necessarily have to be completely, totally on point because he can clear space for himself. Or you got Cole Bassett charging in right behind you.
Or Ronan.
Either way, right? Because Ronan might not be the first option up there, but he will be available. But there's just so many options for Djordje there, right? Mm-hmm. And on top of that, he has no problem sending a shot in, right? And then let Rafa clean it up.
I actually think the connection that most people are missing is actually the Ronan to Djordje connection. Mm-hmm. I think that connection is going to be far stronger than almost any other pairing on the field this season. Interesting. I think it is going to be a freeway for the ball to go. And then once it gets to him, once Djordje gets the ball, then he can put it into play. But look for that Connor Ronan, Djordje connection.
Love that.
It's going to be happening for sure.
One other guy I do want to talk about a little bit more on the
course.
wings. It's Kimani Stewart-Baines.
Okay.
I think Kimani has a little bit of that Mihailovic. I think a lot of people are misconstruing what Kimani Stewart-Baines is. I think people think he's going to be a one-on-one, I'm going to take you on and just beat you down the sideline, which he actually plays a lot more similar to Djordje. He's a creator. He's a wide playmaker. He's a guy that's going to try to get the ball into the center of the field and try to score or cut in as well. And I think that's one of the biggest appeals that the Rapids had when bringing a guy with Kimani, besides the speed, besides all the talent that he has. He knows how to play the game the right way. He's not going to make an arrogant pass. Of course, they'll at a lower level, college, but I also think that he's ready for the big time. I think he's ready to come in, learn from these guys, and know what it's going to take to be a contributor right away.
Sure. And then you look at, the bench. You're probably not going to put KSB in there immediately into the rotation. It's going to be Jonathan Lewis. It's going to be Kevin Cabral. And then there's Jaron Yappy, right? And Yappy, obviously 0 goals last year. Everyone was waiting for the MLS breakout. Went crossbar twice in the first 2 games. Was right there. You felt the breakout coming. And maybe that breakout came with his winning goal in the playoffs for R2, right? And if everything breaks right, maybe you don't have to spend the money on Navarro because Yappy finally gets it, right? He had his year with the first team. He took his lumps, right? Had the frustrations of not having a good year. Comes in, has a strong training camp. He has scored in camp. So has Jonathan Lewis. So has Kevin Cabral. Can those 3 challenge who we think are the obvious starters of Navarro, Djordje, and Fernandez? Can those guys break into that rotation? Yeah. And Kevin Cabral, Dwayne's favorite player in the whole world, on a big contract. Jonathan Lewis fighting for a contract. Jaron Yappy coming off of 0 goals. There's a lot to prove there, guys.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, I do still love Kevin Cabral. I just
no way.
The French sniper.
I love what we wanted him to be.
Right.
Yeah.
You love the idealized version.
The stats don't back up my idealized version of Kevin Cabral. I mean, with Cabral, I'm not even sure that he's at the striker position this year.
Right.
He plays better on that wing. Yappy does too, to be honest. We talked about that on the show earlier. So I don't know when we're going to see Kevin Cabral play, sure. Barring injury, because there's just too many names in front of him that seemingly have a higher floor.
Right.
Cabral might have a higher ceiling in the idealized version, but I'm not sure how many minutes we're going to see him get. So he's the biggest question mark.
Absolutely.
In this entire group, by far.
Absolutely. And the name that hasn't come up yet, guys, Calvin Harris.
That's the one that I'm so glad I got my take in about 2-3 weeks ago. So I didn't look like I was just jumping on a bandwagon. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Calvin Harris kind of proved it last year a little bit, right? He showed he was a reliable starter. He's a GA for a reason. People don't take a lot into account into these draft meetings, but there's a reason they give him these contracts. Mm-hmm. He doesn't count against the cap still. He's a guy that gets it, just kind of gets what you're trying to do out there. There are times that he gets a little stale with the ball and he needs to move around a little bit more and he needs to maybe get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. But that's just him being young. It takes a little bit of time to get that feel into where your teammates are going to be. This year, I think it's going to be perfect for him to go out there and really show what he's made of. He's another guy that I just look at and he's a super sub. He's a complete super sub.
I don't think under a Chris Armas system, there's going to be a lot of time for messing around with the ball. And you've heard it if you watch the series on Apple TV, Elevate, if you've watched some of the clips, you can hear in the background, off camera, constantly Chris Armas yelling, react, 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 react. There's not going to be a lot of playing around with the ball. So I think that's only going to help Calvin Harris too, to not, get stale with it. I think he's going to be moving it sooner and more frequently.
He also had that beautiful left-footed goal on Dwan Jones in that New England game. Oh man, go watch that highlight on Apple. All right, guys, one big question time. Are we starting with me? We're starting with me. All right, how about that? I get to host. I get to choose who goes first, and this time it's me. Can contract year Jonathan Lewis return to his 20 2021 form where he was the super sub. He was electric. He has the speed in him. Can he find that finishing? Jonathan Lewis, will he find an MLS contract if he doesn't have a good year? Probably, right? He's still in the right age range, still has the speed. Some team will talk into him as a bench guy, but it's not the contract that he wants. Right now, if you ask him what contract are you looking for next year,
Sure.
right? And he has come into camp. He looks to be in the best shape I have ever seen him in. He has scored a ton of goals in preseason. I believe he had 5 preseason goals so far with 1 game to go. Can he do it? Because then you're making those decisions on the outside really hard, right? Yep. Then it's, maybe Calvin doesn't get this, right? Maybe Kevin doesn't go in.
Yep.
Maybe Omir isn't playing because Jonathan Lewis is doing such a good job, right? So can he put himself into that position? I hope he can. He has scored a ton of goals in preseason to at least get that conversation started going in the right direction.
Of course. I mean, J. Lou is J. Lou. I'm not as high as you are on him right now, just because of what I've seen the last couple of years.
Well, same.
There's always a chance.
To be fair, same. But I just hope he can, because that really changes the math out there, right? And that's what's important.
Of course.
Dwayne, big question?
It's the most obvious of the big questions for this group. Is Rafa the guy?
Ooh.
Will he still be in Burgundy by August? And that is the big question. The club has gone out and are very proactive about getting the pieces on the squad to get the ball to him.
Yep.
It's time for him to be able to prove that he is the guy. So there's no more excuses about wings or a coach who's making all of the forwards play defense. All of those excuses are out now. This is a clean slate, and it's time for him to just start putting the ball in the net. I want him to be that guy so bad, because if there's anybody on the field right now who I want to have my back on the streets, it's Rafa. Like, he's just a big, imposing guy, and I want him to bring that to just smashing the ball into the net.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see this year. And I want to see those goal celebrations, man. I got to see them.
Dude, you can't let that gorgeous boy band look fool you. He will knock you out.
Yeah, I know.
He's got the pearly whites. He's got the Jordan neck tat. Come on. All right.
And I just want to see it on the ball.
All right, yeah. For you, one big question.
My big question is, which of the young guys can break out and can be a contributor this year?
Okay.
And to some extent, it's Yappy and Kimani Stewart-Baines. Those are the 2 main guys I'm looking at that are going to be like, what can they do? What can they do for us? But it's also, to some extent, you're looking at Kevin Cabral. Can he finally hit a stride and be a guy that we're looking at? You're looking at Calvin Harris. Is he going to continue his good form? And I think that's going to be so important, because you're saying that Jonathan Lewis, but he's also out of contract this year. So even if he does, is he going to price himself out of Colorado? And Colorado can't afford him anymore. Does he need to change the scenery? So you got to make sure you got reliable guys. It's kind of like that rotation thing, but you have so many young guys behind him with Gavon gone. You don't have Sam Nicholson anymore. You don't got those guys that you knew where you're getting from. You're going to need a lot from the guys like Kimani, who's coming in his first year, Yappy, who didn't have a great year last year, and guys like Calvin and Cabral are also going to have to prove that they can be a part of this rotation for this team to be successful going forward, especially in the congested parts of the season in June and July, when you have 10 games in 4 weeks or something like that. Right. It's insane.
Right. And I mean, look, you nailed it. The depth is going to be super important, and it's going to take guys elevating, right? We're not going to bank on past performance with some of these guys. It's going to take someone really making a jump. So really good call there. Yeah. Guys, we just previewed the season. How's it feel?
Time.
Oh man, I feel like it's been 4 weeks.
We've been in this room for 4 weeks previewing this season, wearing the same clothes. Make sure you check out our final episode before the season opener in Portland. Make sure you catch our big show with some big guests.
I think you can say the name. This is going now afterward.
Really?
Yeah, this is going to go after. You can say, go watch our Cole and Sam Vines video. It's going to be
Cole
incredible.
Bassett and Sam Vines. Can you believe it? On one show.
It's going to be 3 homegrowns on that show, baby.
Are you including yourself as that?
I'm a homegrown Colorado kid.
Hell yeah. Better believe it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into DNVR Rapids. We will see you next time.